Coming up on the game plan with Ron Rivera, the preseason's in the books. How does Coach feel about his squad after going 3-0 in the preseason? We saw some good things from Sam Howell in the offense. Coach takes us into the film room to show us what worked well in Eric Bieniemy's new offense. We're also heading into Coach's office to review the defensive game tape. This is your inside look into the game plan, and it starts right now. The game plan with Ron Rivera is presented by your local Honda dealer. Set summer in motion with the most fun-to-drive Honda vehicles yet. Buy online, reserve from select dealers, or visit your local Honda dealer today. And buy the Maryland Lottery Fast Play Games. Play fast, win fast today. Please play responsibly. Welcome to Game Plan with Coach Ron Rivera. I'm Logan Paulson, and we are super fired up. Are you fired up for this show, Coach?
I'm excited.
I am too, man, because I get to spend some time with you, so that's always exciting. All right, so we just finished up the preseason, right? 3-0, you've been coaching football for a long time. Does it mean anything?
It does, because of the attitude you create, because of the tone you set. Winning begets winning, and learning how to do things the right way is probably one of the most important things you want to do during training camp, and I felt like we did a lot of good things.
A lot of good things is right, and I will say, like, one guy that really stood out in terms of doing the right things was Sam Howell, right? Named the starter. What did you see from him in terms of his growth that made you say this is the right decision for this team?
Well, in the spring, you and I talked, and we talked about what Sam had to do. He had to have the type of offseason that showed he was growing and heading in the right direction. He had good OTAs, good minicamp. Then going into training camp, we wanted to see his growth and development to continue. But some of the marks that we were going to use was going to be the first preseason game, and then the scrimmage we had with the Ravens, and really thought that those 2 days of practice really kind of led us to where the decision was made. I sat down, I talked with EB, I talked with Tavita, I talked with Kenny Zampese, and we all kind of talked about where the young man is headed and what we think he can do with our offense, and that's how we came up with our conclusion.
And so in the scrimmage, everyone kind of had bookmarked that and said, this is a big day for us. What about his performance said, I'm ready to go?
Well, one of the things you showed really was one of the features that we're going to show is going to see how he handled the blitz pressure.
I see.
In the Cleveland game, he missed the blitz.
Sure.
Okay? During practices against Baltimore, he picked them up. He made the right decisions. He delivered the ball where it needed to be. So you saw the growth. He didn't make the same mistake twice. And again, you have one that you're going to feature that was going to be really good.
Yeah, we're really excited to check that out later. So what is EB's role in his development? Because I feel like when you look at him last year, obviously first year with Scott Turner, but EB's attention to detail seems to have rubbed off on him, but also like the rest of the offense.
Well, I think the biggest thing that EB has done has really, for the whole offensive unit as a whole, he's poured so much at them all at once, and he's had them figure it out.
Yes,
okay.
I got you.
He's led them by the hand and say, hey, this works with this. This combination works there. He showed them what the concepts were and what the ideas, and the constant work and push. I think really fit very much what Sam was trying to do.
I see. And then so in addition to Sam just being kind of lights out this whole offseason, you've had Cole Turner. You've had Jahan Dotson. I know he was good last year, but he seems to have gotten even better. Guys like Chris Rodriguez showing up. What is this kind of youth movement on the offset? P-Rob in second year. Like all these young guys playing good football.
Well, it's really about the future of the franchise more than anything else. We're trying to build this the right way. We want to make sure we put the right pieces into place that are going to be here extended for a period of time. And if you can draft well and develop your guys, you're going to have guys fit what you're doing, and you'll have a period of time with them. And we for the first time, I talked about having a roster build, the opportunity to build the way that we really think we can. And again, I'm excited to see if we're right.
Yeah, absolutely. And so are we, obviously. So now let's take a closer look at some of those young guys. All right, here's a look at the offensive standouts from this preseason. Obviously got Cole Turner in his second year, catching 10 footballs, looking dominant, developing that relationship with Sam Howell. Sam Howell, 75% completion percentage, looking like that dude. Jahan Dotson making DBs all over the NFL look silly. Love what he's going to bring. Really excited for a big year from him. Let's head to the film room presented by the Maryland Lottery. Fast play games. Play fast, win fast today. Please play responsibly. Coach, let's talk a little bit of offense. Now, this was easier than the defensive one, right? Because you guys played a lot of guys on offense, and you guys got a lot of young guys playing a lot of stuff here. So let's take a look at our guy, Jahan. I mean, we could just stop the conversation right there, and you could do the whole show about him. But what do you think about this guy on this route? This is the touchdown versus Cleveland. He's going to run this across and back. What do you got for me, Coach?
Well, the biggest thing is he sells the crossing route. And because he sells the crossing route, he can get back outside and create the leverage he needs to win on this route. And it's all about route running at that point. When you sell your route, when you get the guy to believe you're going somewhere else and you make that move and you get into that position, you've created the leverage the quarterback needs to deliver a good ball. That's why the connection is made here. Again, it's about selling the route and then the quarterback trusting that you've done a good job and he can deliver the ball.
I also think it's about the details, Coach. Like here we got this corner right here. Get a great job by Diami outside releasing, right? Ensuring the window, creating the space. We got the protection. We got tight ends staying in, understanding who to block, right? We got guys fighting here in the pro. And I will say the offensive line, everyone was kind of critical of them. I thought they had a very, very solid preseason, and it allows plays like this to work at this level.
Yeah, I'll tell you, with the exception of the of the first drive.
That's right.
I think our offensive line has grown and shown the growth that we were looking for. But to your point exactly, again, you see the clear out. He clears the corner out, which allows the opening back to the sideline. Again, it's a heck of a catch, but an even better move to shake both the nickel and the safety and get himself into the end zone.
Yeah, I guess that's a good point. I didn't even think about that. But with the safety, like he's matching this crosser, right?
Yes.
He's thinking, oh, I got to kind of closes his hips to it, opens back up, makes a great catch, great play. But we've come to expect that from him, right?
We really do.
Yeah. And so the other thing I love about Jahan and Sam is their instincts, like the way they work together here. This is kind of it should be a full blown out, I think, right here. They're going to run a peel and a post here, and there should be a nice window here. But what I love about this EB offense is it affords guys opportunities to kind of feel the zones, right?
Right. Well, and again, one thing that you have to have receivers that understand the concepts and understand the zones, knowing that, hey, instead of running myself into coverage, into trouble, I know that they're basically playing some sort of single hole.
Yep.
Okay? So what I want to do is I want to stop short of the guy that's in the hole, but I don't want to run into the guy that's playing the zone on the other side.
That's a great point.
And again, good read by the quarterback, great anticipation because he trusts the route runner.
And it also helps, I was going to say, when you have that chemistry with a guy and a guy who knows what he's doing, you're on the same page.
And that's why we felt we had to play the offensive guys a little bit more than we did the defensive guys, because Sam has to have that kind of rapport. He's got to have that kind of trust in everybody, and we're starting to see it start paying dividends.
Yeah, and everyone wants to talk about catching footballs, Coach. I know that's all you care about. But I like blitz pickups, Coach. I'm into that, right? This is a pretty tough blitz pickup. They're going to run a little bit of game here with the defensive line. They're going to try and pick this guy's hip and get this guard off center here. But B-Rob, man, holy cow, comes up, and this is how you stop a pick stunt. Bow. Yes. Get out of there. And so, again, everyone talks about the offensive line. I see a beautiful pocket.
Well, remember again, in our first preseason game, we missed the blitz.
That's right.
Mm-hmm. Actually, it was on the quarterback because he had a hot. He should have gone to. He had a read. He should have gone to his hot immediately, and he didn't.
Yeah.
Here we see the blitz pickup. We trust it.
Yeah.
And now we have time to throw the ball downfield.
And again, this is one of those things where these guys need reps too. Everyone talks about the pass thrower, the ball catcher, but these guys need to know, oh, I can sit on this combination. I know the back's going to come help me out, right? And getting reps with those different personalities is always super helpful, Coach. But in addition to these plays, right, Sam showed something that I like, right? I know you like. You got a little smile.
Yeah.
You like a little smile, right? His ability to kind of make off schedule stuff and move around in the pocket, Coach. And what does that do for this offense?
Well, what it does is it extends plays. And again, if you're in tune with a quarterback, you realize he extends plays, you find a way to get open. You find a way to get open. And again, if you watch what happens here, okay, Cole Turner recognizes the quarterback's under duress.
Yeah.
He finds a vacant area and he puts himself down in it and creates the opportunity for the big completion on and get the first down.
Absolutely, because this route concept is kind of this shallow cross. I don't know what you guys call it, shallow cross. He's going to sit over the ball. That's what it should look like. And then he kind of feels that the quarterback's off. He finds that space. And, Cole, man, 10 catches in the preseason. Holy cow, great job by him. And I love the chemistry that all these young guys are having together.
Does that make you envious to hear?
Because I never caught footballs, Coach. I was doing something like this over here. So
that's true. You were a heck of a blocker now.
Thank you, Coach. I appreciate it. So now this is one that I really like because this is Diami Brown.
Yes.
They went to school together, obviously. And this is something that I would say is probably an ill-advised throw, but trusting your guy. The football's right here, Coach.
Yeah, but this has every element of a back shoulder fade.
Yes.
Is what it really does. And in talking with Sam this spring, the one thing he told me was he was excited to get back to working with Diami. They spent the spring of the offseason together. They both were back at UNC. Then they were both back in Charlotte, North Carolina, their hometown areas. And so they got together and threw the ball.
Yeah.
So they reworked that chemistry they had in college. Yeah. And you see it. Again, like you said, this is about trust. And like I said, this is very similar to a true back shoulder.
Yeah. And exactly right. Because he's covered right now, but he says, my guy trusts me. Let's get the ball out there and let's make this play for him. Great job by Diami. And how much better has he gotten at finishing these types of plays.
And it's because of the style of routes that are being run. They play to his game.
Yeah.
These are routes that he can use his size on, not just going vertical and stretching the field, but also coming back, putting myself in position to make plays, knowing how to use my body, how to go out and pluck the ball with my hands. These are all things that you've seen the growth of Dyami this spring and this training camp.
I love it. And Coach, like, it's so funny. Preseason's just a small taste of what this offense can do. So I can't wait for week 1. Can't wait to see this offense against Arizona.
Well, there's a lot of potential, absolutely.
Thank you, Coach. Don't miss Command Center every week on our Commanders YouTube channel. Santana Moss and Fred Smoot are with me to break down games and take you inside all the action. Coach, I know you're a fan of Command Center. Catch it every Thursday. Don't go anywhere, because we still need to talk about this Commanders defense. Coach and I are headed into his office to review the game tape. This is legit inside access, folks. And a little later, Coach gives us his keys to starting the season off with a win and how he and the team are handling this holiday weekend. That's straight ahead on the Game Plan with Ron Rivera, presented by your local Honda dealers. Welcome back to the Game Plan with Ron Rivera. It's time for the Rivera Review, presented by DC Prime, Loudoun's premier steakhouse. For dinner reservations or private dining, call 703-840-2099. All right, Coach, just wrapped up with the preseason. Obviously, a lot of high-level plays from the defense. Let's start with this one by Montez Sweat. And, you've done a great job of building this defensive line of, like, freak athletes. And I think this is what it gives you, right?
Right. Well, one of the ideas and philosophies we had coming in here was that everything starts up front, offensively, defensively, and I think you would agree with that.
Yeah.
Because as you look at it, the guys that can make the most impact, the most immediate impact, are your front four.
Yeah.
And that's what this does for us. This is a tone setter for the rest of the season, believe it or not.
Yeah.
We're in a tough situation. It's 4th and 1, okay? And what they're counting on more so than anything else is that Montez is going to hesitate, okay, off of the quarterback. But, again, if you watch it, he does his assignment. His assignment says to head at the mesh point, read the mesh point, and make the play. And that's exactly what you do. The thing that helps us, too, is the safety on the backside is where he needs to be. See how the safety, in case that ball's pulled, okay, he'll be there to handle the quarterback. So, again, we put ourselves in a good position. We make a good play. We set the edge down here, which is also important. And, again, the play's made. We're off the field, and we have set the tone for the rest of the year, basically.
I mean, when I look at this, I say, man, this is exactly how you draw it up offensively, right? We got good angles on the front side combination. We get a down block on the 3 technique. We get to cut the backside shade. This should be a walk-in. We're getting a hat on the safety, but you get a play by Montez, and I think you mentioned Percy Butler on the backside here allows him to be super aggressive to this football.
Absolutely. And again, well designed by Jack and his guys. But again, the execution is exactly what you needed out of it.
That's so funny you say designed. I always think of defenses as just like wild animals out there playing ball, but there's a lot of structure that goes into that.
There is, but there's a reaction to everything. And that's the difference. And if you look at it and say, well, how do you guys play defense? Well, our defenses technically react. But your design has to be that if they react, we have an answer for whatever they do if they can react properly.
Man, that's got to be tough, Coach.
It is, because a lot of times you're guessing. Back in the day, that's what I learned from having played for Buddy Ryan.
Okay.
That's one of the things Buddy always told me, is that you have to have an answer for your reaction.
Right. Well, speaking of reaction, then this play by Emmanuel Forbes on 3rd and 1. Like, everyone talks about how instinctive he is and how fast he is to diagnose and recognize. And I look at this and I say, you get, Jeremy Reeves, who thinks this is a pass to start the play. He's running out with the tight end, and Forbes triggers on this right now to make this play. And that's from just being a kind of an instinctive football player.
And you're right, instincts really do take over here. And the nice thing about it too is he uses his leverage to get under the blocker. And again, he slides underneath him, goes right into the ball carrier and makes the play. What helps a little bit too is, as F.A. Obata gets vertical, he's getting cracked, but he works vertical. And because he works vertical, the running back can't start downhill now. He's got to bubble just a little bit more. And then what that allows is it gives Forbes an opportunity to get himself in position and cut down the running back and make the play.
And that's a really funny kind of relationship there, because 77, I think, is the heaviest player in the NFL, Coach. Daniel Falele, I think he's like 415 pounds. And you got one of the lighter players there, and sometimes size doesn't really matter, does it?
No, it doesn't. Again, it's about playing with technique, using your ability to make plays, and that's what we get from Forbes here. Again, good low tackle, uses his shoulders, uses his arms to get a wrap on the leg, and bring him down for the no gain.
And you said something while we were getting ready about you don't want to mess with Forbes. Like, why do you think that?
I think people underestimate who he is.
Yeah.
I really do. You know, when you watch the way he practices, you watch the way he plays, this is a young man that is constantly putting himself in position to make plays.
Absolutely. And so then this another guy, another young guy on the defense that I think is very, very, very talented. He's been all over the defense, kind of settling into that nickel role, is Quan Martin. Physically very, very gifted. This is a tough look for him right here, Coach.
Yes, it really is, because again, as you're reading these things, and the route is really designed to get him to get rubbed off by his own guy, which he does. But he never gives up. He continues, he works. And the thing I love is he works to the receiver's hands. It's one of the drills that I know our DBs work on is that when the ball's up in the air coming over your top, you go right to the arms and hands of the receiver. And watch what he does. He never takes his eyes off it, and then he takes his hands and thrusts them into his hands. Well, that creates the deflection. He stays with it, sees the ball, gets the interception. Then he has the awareness to return it, okay? Now,
taking the long way, Coach.
Yeah, you love everything he does, but reverse the field. Because we try to tell him, stay to one side, because if you reverse the field, something bad could happen. The thing I like is our guys, they're using their bodies properly. James Smith-Williams shows why he's a smart football player. And again, that adds an extra 6-7 yards to the return.
Absolutely. And so, you know, what I would say, ask Coach is, you know, that's a tough look for him as playing DB. Like, how do you make that better? Is that just film study? Is that just awareness? Is that just getting reps?
It's film study and it's awareness. Understanding that they're going to try and rub me off the play. So if they're trying to rub me off the play, which we saw early on, and we'll take it right back to just watch it. Now I understand. Anytime they're stacked like this, and again, they're not necessarily close enough to really anticipate it, but if I feel this kind of stem,
this outside release by the receiver,
I have to know that I've got to get in a position. What you would like is for the corner to recognize it, and instead of starting, just give ground and say, we don't want to pick our own guy off. And again, this is something that he'll learn, and the other guys on the field will learn and understand as well.
And that's something tough about the preseason also, is you're getting reps with guys that you haven't necessarily gotten reps before, and building that chemistry, especially in the back end, is super important.
And again, you don't game plan it either. You don't understand the little things that you need to do and understand about your opponent.
Well, absolutely, Coach. Dude, super excited for the season. Super excited to be doing more of this. And every time we're in here, I learn something, which I always appreciate. Thanks, Coach.
No, you're welcome. Appreciate it, buddy.
Now that you've been in the coach's office, how about heading into the locker room? That's what it's like to hang out with the guys on the Players Club. London Fletcher and Santana Moss talk with your favorite players every week. You can watch it at 11:35 p.m. on Saturday nights on WUSA 9 and listen to the podcast wherever you get your podcasts. We're not done yet. When we come back, Coach will give us his keys to a successful season. It's right around the corner. That's next on Game Plan with Ron Rivera, presented by your local Honda dealer. Welcome back. It's time for some healthy competition presented by Ortho Virginia, the official orthopedic and sports medicine partner of the Washington Commanders. It's always healthy competition for teams that have to go up against this defense. Obviously in the preseason, the starters didn't play a ton, but we got to see Emmanuel Forbes Jr., the team's first-round draft pick, did a great job making that excellent tackle on third one. Khaleke Hudson was all over the field, making a name for himself, carving out a spot for this roster. And Percy Butler with the big pick against Cleveland. Love to see that speed. Coach is getting the guys ready for week one. If you want to be ready for week one, don't miss Command Center Game Day Live, the only Commanders pregame show with a live camera on the field while the team gets ready for kickoff. Join Brian Mitchell and Santana Moss on that show at 12 p.m. next Sunday. And then after the game, I join B. Mitch on Command Center Postgame Live to recap all the big moments and hear from Coach Rivera when he takes the podium after the game. Spend your game days with us on your YouTube, Facebook, and X channels. It's time for your ticket to a dub, presented by SeatGeek, the official primary ticketing partner of the Washington Commanders. All right, Coach, we got our first chance for a dub coming up next week, this following week. It's kind of an unusual schedule now with the preseason. It's the holiday weekend. What are you guys doing?
Well, what we did, going up to this weekend was, we worked the guys. We worked a lot of our stuff.
Okay.
We did a lot of little detail things, just trying to shore some things up. And it's also a good measuring stick to the things that we want to use as we go forward and we put into the game plan as we start getting ready for Arizona next week.
It's funny you mentioned that. As a player, I always hated those bonus days. But as a coach, what is the advantage of those days?
Again, as I said, you get to refine a lot of the details of what you're doing right now.
I gotcha.
You get to take some of the things that you're thinking about game planning and using and practice them and see if it really does fit and it does work.
All right.
And so it's been really good. It really has.
I'll take your word for it that it's beneficial because I don't know about all that. But I will say, so, it's kind of a pseudo bye. You got like an extra week in here. Are you getting any time off?
Yeah, we actually are. We're gonna have the weekend off, but we'll come back on Monday as coaches. We'll start putting the beginning touches of the game plan. We'll refine them on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and then Friday we'll feel very comfortable, and I believe our guys will be ready to play.
I've always wanted to know this as a coach. Is it beneficial to have that extra time, or does it make you kind of see ghosts a little bit?
Well, one of the things that it does make you see ghosts. You got to be careful. You could overthink it.
Yeah.
And do too much.
Yeah,
I mean, you want to go into this first game with the guys playing fast, confident and comfortable. And so a lot of things that we did this week are things that we're going to take and use going forward. And I believe it's a good number of plays. It's a good number of ideas and strategies that we can use.
Awesome, Coach. Well, thanks so much for joining us, man. Enjoy the time off.
All right.
And don't get too much sun on the golf course.
No.